This is the Process Shot. I'm Michael. I'm stuck in a haunted movie theater, and I've seen Hedwig and the Angry Inch, a musical drama from John Cameron Mitchell, released back in 2001. It's a chronicle of the life of Hedwig Robinson, a transsexual German singer who, after a botched surgery and a failed marriage, begins a career as a rock musician with her band, the Angry Inch. The film follows Hedwig as she chases after Tommy Gnosis, a former lover who has gained mainstream fame with her music. Further, the film looks at her life through her musical lens, with the film's many musical numbers drawn from her own life experiences. It's a pretty straightforward story, really more of a character study or biography, looking at Hedwig's past and what has made her the rather abrasive and somewhat conceited person she's become when we first meet her. The plotting of the story is a bit loose as well, though mostly because of how the film is structured, less around a narrative or ongoing events, and more around Hedwig and her music, with the songs of the film being half of the story in themselves, not only in their active presence as works written and performed by Hedwig, but as musical records of Hedwig's life and experiences, with a pattern developing between seeing something happen with Hedwig through flashback, followed by an accompanying song. It's not an unwelcome pattern, though, and it's presented very naturally thanks to the film's consistent flow, with no real hard shifts out of nowhere. It also helps that the musical scenes are presented with a bit of evolution to them as well, initially being grounded more to reality, but over time incorporating animation and fictionalized visuals, eventually becoming mini music videos within the film. As for the film's narrative events, they pretty much take a backseat to the music, letting it tell the story, while the non-musical scenes more or less fill in the gaps between songs. That story is a bit weak, more or less being a watered-down and comparatively incomplete version of an otherwise cliché musician's rise and fall story, but only because, again, the focus isn't on the band or the group dynamic, but on Hedwig herself, and so it's her story which gets fleshed out the most. It leaves the other band members at a bit of a loss, since they end up as less than minor characters, save for one who may not have a name explicitly stated, but does at least have some explicit character arc, though it's still presented in the shadow of Hedwig. Granted, it's given a full conclusion, but it's essentially another branch in Hedwig's story and her search for completeness. As for Hedwig, her character is definitely complete and certainly well fleshed, but there's still some things which are left to the viewer to interpret, primarily in the film's conclusion, although it's fair to say that it's a happy ending. And again, this is essentially her movie, so it's all gonna be about her. And while that idea is generally a bad sign when a movie puts all its focus on one character who's, from the top, painted as unlikable, the film goes to great lengths to explain why she is who she is, and in the end it's hard not to sympathize with her. Overall, while the movie lacks a larger scope and presents glimpses into other parts of its world, the part of Hedwig's world which we do get to see is quite an amazing experience, both as a visual treat for the eyes, a musical treat for the ears, and an emotional story from the heart, or something like that. Hedwig and the Angry Inch, John Cameron Mitchell, 2001. 4.5 stars. I recommend seeing it for sure. That's it for the review. If you liked it, leave a like or a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more reviews. I'm going to add this to my list of movies with great soundtracks. I ought to write them down, actually.